And I'm Jaakko, and I'm head of partnerships at Leadfeeder, and I've been doing some social selling webinars earlier to our client base. And today I'm proud to announce that we have Dan Knowlton from UK, who's a big digital marketing influencer from there, and he's going to show you some tricks how to utilize Leadfeeder leads and turn them into sales through Twitter. So joining now, here comes Dan.
Hi there, Jaakko. Yes, thanks for the introduction. So my name's Dan Knowlton. I'm a digital marketing specialist and the founder of a company called KPS Digital Marketing, which is a digital marketing agency based down in Kent in the southeast of the UK. So we ultimately help businesses by doing a variety of training and management in three core areas, which are social media marketing, content marketing or content creation, and email marketing. So we help lots and lots of different sized businesses, from small startups to large multinational organizations, really get to grips with digital marketing and social media and use it to help them grow. And I also write for some different publications. So I write for Social Media Examiner, Content Marketing Institute, and I love creating and sharing step-by-step tutorials to help businesses like other Leadfeeder customers get to grips with digital marketing. I do that on my website, which is kpsdigitalmarketing.co.uk. So today, what we're here for is to really talk you through exactly how you can be using Leadfeeder, which is an amazing sales and lead generation tool, and I really do love it, to really start to engage with these leads that you're getting on here on social media, and especially on Twitter, which is what we're going to be going through. And I'm going to be sharing lots and lots of actionable advice and tips that all the viewers here and everyone using Leadfeeder can use to really use this tool effectively, because it is such a powerful tool. And if you really use it effectively with social media, couple it with social media as another sales tool, it works so effectively. So just to give you a quick idea of how this is going to pan out, I'm going to start off by giving a few general tips about how to engage with these leads once you've captured them through Leadfeeder. So I've got a few really actionable tips there, and then we're going to be going on screen and going through step by step how you can start to engage with these people on Twitter, how you can build relationships with them, and how you can convert them into paying customers. And I'm going to be walking you through the different processes. I've got some really great tools I'm going to be sharing with you, and some great examples of how you can be using Leadfeeder, and some great examples of other companies who are doing really well at engaging on Twitter. So to start off, I just want to talk through some really general tips, but so important for when you're engaging with people, engaging with leads through Leadfeeder. The first tip I want to talk about is to be genuine. Now, it may sound simple, it may sound, everyone's genuine, but people forget. And, Leadfeeder is a great way to generate leads, but it's how you deal with those leads next that's really going to help you convert them into sales. And we need to move past the hard selling era. It's not about hard selling now. It's about building relationships over time once you've got a lead, and then eventually them converting into a customer because they want to, not because you're in their face trying to make them buy your products and services. And a really important tip around that is to be genuine. We know everyone's using Leadfeeder to get leads and sales. That's the whole point of it. But you need to be being a genuine person. Don't just go find a lead on Leadfeeder and go straight onto Twitter and try and sell them something. You need to be a genuine person, be a real human being, because people engage with humans, not with sales machines, okay? So that's the first tip. The next tip, which is coupled with what I've just said, never try and hard sell. Now, yes, there are people out there that hard sell and do very well from it, but I myself do not believe in pushy hard selling at all. I think if you've got a good product and service, it can sell itself, but you can build a relationship over time to demonstrate the credibility, the value, the benefits that you're going to provide your customers to sell them your product and service. So I really do not believe in hard selling. Please, please, please do not use Leadfeeder and instantly try and sell something to the leads you get from the tool, because that will not work. What will work is getting the leads from Leadfeeder, as you can see here on the screen, and then engaging with these people on things like Twitter. So as an example here, I've found one of my leads here. I can go to their website, and I'm going to show you this in more detail later on. One of the main things I'm going to be talking about today is actually finding these people's, finding these leads' Twitter accounts and then engaging with them. So I go down here, find their Twitter account. So this is one of my leads. And what we're going to be talking through today is actually building a Twitter list, a list on your Twitter of all the leads on Leadfeeder, and then we're going to engage with them. And it's really important to not hard sell to these people and to be genuine. So I'm going to talk through a bit more of that later on. The next really important tip I want to talk about is to show personality when engaging with these people on social media. One mistake I see time after time after time is people and businesses being too corporate and too, showing no personality. Your business, your team, your employees, you've all got a personality, and people buy from people. They don't buy from lifeless, personality-lessness, if that's a word, businesses. You need to show your personality. And one amazing example of a business which is engaging with its customers on a really personal level, showing real personality, is an amazing tool called Buffer, which is a social media scheduling tool. And my favorite thing about Buffer is the way they engage with people. So let me show you an example on the screen here. So Buffer, they just engage with you on such an amazing level. And I've got real experience with this because I used to use Buffer. I now use a tool called Sendable because I actually think it offers a lot more of a better solution for social media scheduling, but they're still a great example for the way they engage with people. And I've personally, I've engaged with these people with Buffer, and have felt that after I've had they've engaged with me on social media or Twitter, I actually go away feeling really happy and feeling like, wow, they've made me feel really good. So let me show you some examples. If we go to their account and click tweets and replies here, you can basically see all the engagements they're doing on Twitter. So a really actionable bit of advice I'd give you is to go on here and look for yourself how they're engaging with people. As an example here, they're engaging with someone and they've said, woohoo, so excited to have you around, smiley face. I'll send you over the invite shortly. Alfred. Couple of pointers here. First of all, the woohoo, it makes him human. It's making Buffer human. Not many corporate people or corporate businesses on Twitter will say woohoo, but it's a small thing. But those kind of things, the way you need to think of it is speak as if you're a real person. If you're going yes, or if you're going woohoo, show it on social media and be positive and upbeat like they are. Another great thing I love is emojis. Emojis are a great example of a way to really start to build relationships when you're engaging. Use emojis because it's difficult to understand the context of a conversation unless you're using an emoji, because that can show the emotion. If it's a happy face, excited face, sad face, try and stay positive. And also the other thing I love is that they've used their personal name. The person who's engaging with them is using their name. So here, Alfred is engaging and he's using his name. So a bit of advice I give you, whoever's managing your social media, if it's someone in-house, if you're outsourcing it to an agency like us, who should be doing it anyway, but make sure you're telling them to use your personal name. So I'd really advise you to look down here. Just look at some of the great engagements they've got. Speaking like a human. Yeah, they all came together really well. I feel so inspired by it too. Smiley face. Look at all the smileys, emojis they're using down here. There's another great digital marketing influencer called Sam Hurley who preaches about using emojis, and he's so right. Check him out, but also use emojis when engaging. So that's just an example of a really great company who's engaging very well. Now, I'm going to be talking through how you can engage effectively on Twitter with these leads shortly. But I just got a few more pointers before we move on. What I want you to think about is adding value. Adding value. How are you adding value to a conversation that you're engaging with through a lead on Twitter? Because a lot of businesses will go use Leadfeeder, or not just businesses using Leadfeeder, any business will go to Twitter and they engage in a conversation, they hit reply, and all they do is they add nice, or they add great, or they add cool. That means nothing. That means sod all. You need to think, how are you going to add something meaningful to the conversation? So a bit of advice I'd give you, when you're engaging with the content, that they're sharing, which I'm going to talk through more in detail later. Make sure you're actually looking at what they're sharing. Like, here's a video. Watch the video and add a meaningful comment. If you're in the same industry, you've got a lot of knowledge. Add something meaningful. If they're talking about a new tool in the industry, how about you've got a tool that they can also use which adds something? Think about how you're adding value up front, because again, this is going towards our whole ethos of building relationships over a period of time to convert these leads into sales. So you need to think of what value are you adding up front to these people. You need to be adding this value. So how are you doing it? Think to yourself now, what are you doing? Are you giving out free information? Are you sharing lots of exciting insights, industry news, industry knowledge, tips, tutorials? You need to be doing this stuff. So that's just a great example there. And another thing I want to say, which is a really good point, is put yourself in your potential lead shoes. Put yourself in their shoes before you engage with them. And what this will do is it will stop you being so in-your-face salesy. Because if you put yourself in their shoes, nobody likes being sold to. Nobody at all. None of these leads in the lead feeder here, none of them want to be rung up and directly sold to, pushy sales. They want to build relationships and they want value given to them up front before they make a decision. So put yourself in their shoes. How would you like, if you were on a website and someone used Leadfeeder and they followed up with you, how would you like them to follow up with you? I personally would like them to build a relationship with me over line on social media, also build a relationship offline, so through phone calls, through meetings, through networking, and eventually, yes, I will consider them to buy the products and service if I've got the need for that product or service. Okay, so please put yourself in their shoes. That's a really, really, really important point. And finally, be likable and be fun. And a great app I use is an app called Boomerang. So this is a free app on Android. It's on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. And it's made by... where is it? It's made by... it's made by Instagram. No, that's not it. Boomerang. Let's have a look. Instagram app. And what it does is it creates really cool looping GIF videos. Okay, so have a look here. Type in Boomerang Instagram app and you can see more about it. What it does is it creates looping GIF images. And you may be thinking, how the hell is this going to help you build relationships with these leads on social media? But the way it's going to do that is I'm going to give you some examples here. So I actually wrote a blog about this myself to show people how to use Boomerang, which is a link here. We're going to send you an email after this to give you all the links to the extra content that we're going to help you with. But here, if I show you some examples of some boomerangs I've made, what it is when I'm engaging with someone, I film myself using look at all these looping. It's like a looping video. It's quite funny, but if you think about it strategically, it helps you build relationships because you're a real person and they can see a real person rather than very corporate. As I mentioned earlier, people buy from people. So if you're creating these cool boomerangs, it's adding personality, it's letting you be creative and express yourself, and it's also building relationships with these people. So do check that out. It's a really, really great tool. And you can check out my blog there. I've talked through exactly how you can use it effectively. So there are just some quick snippet tips for you on when engaging with people after finding them in Leadfeeder. But now what I want to do is I want to take you through step by step, on the screen, what you can do to start engaging with these people effectively on Twitter and converting them into paying customers. So let's cross these out. So within Leadfeeder, one of the features, first off, I love about Leadfeeder is the little star icon. So when a warm lead keeps coming up and they visit your website numerous times and demonstrate that they may be interested by potentially visiting your pricing page, visiting your About Us page, visiting your Contact Us page, but not taking any action, this is the kind of lead, especially the pricing page and the Contact Us page, that you want to be following up with. And you want to know when they're visiting your website. So what you can do is press the star button, and every time that they come onto your website, you get an email notification. So you can so one thing I do, this is a little clever nugget that you can do. If it's a warm lead, star them here. So click the star icon so you get an instant email notification. When you get that email notification, go to their Twitter and engage with them instantly. So what you're doing then is they've demonstrated they've gone on your website, and you're instantly sparking a conversation on Twitter. Now, I wouldn't say anything too salesy. I just engage with their content. Add, like I mentioned before, add meaningful comments to their Twitter content, just so again you're popping up. It's a little clever trick you can use. So this is now I'm going to take you through step by step how we go about this. So the first thing I do is find one of your warm leads here. Northwest Kent College, they visit my website a lot. You can see the different pages they visited. They've looked at lots of my blogging content. So what I can do is click to go to their website. Another great thing I love is you can instantly get to their website. And then you want to scroll down and find their Twitter profile. So one of the easiest ways to do this is to scroll down to the bottom of their page. And it's usually at the bottom, like here it says follow us with a Twitter icon. If you can't find them on here, their Twitter account, simply do a Google search. So type in their business name and then Twitter account, and it should come up to the top. So now we've sourced their Twitter profile here. Now what we want to do is we want to create a private Twitter list of leads, of Leadfeeder leads. So this is the first thing we need to do. So what we want to do, we've gone to their profile. Then we need to click the settings icon. Then we need to click add or remove from lists. Now I've got loads of lists here and I've already created a list for these, but let's say I was starting from scratch like you guys. Click create list and you put a title for your list. So Leadfeeder leads. Description I leave blank because we know what it is, but you can add a description if you want. Now you've got two options. You can either make this list public so that everyone knows about this list. The people you add to it will get a notification to say they've been added. Anyone can find this list. Or private, which means only you know about the list. Only you can see the list. And with this kind of Twitter list, I always make it private, because some people can be put off if they're being put in a category of one of your potential leads. They can think they're being targeted and stuff. So I'd keep it private. Click save list. Now it's really important that the new list has come up there, Leadfeeder leads. The padlock icon to the right means that it's private. Now I need to make sure I tick that list. Now what that's doing is it's putting North Kent College in that list. So one of my leads is in the list. Now to check this has worked, go back to your profile. So here's my profile here, Twitter profile. Then you need to go to lists, click lists there. This will come up with all the lists. Then click within the list. So there you go, Leadfeeder leads. This is the list I've just made. Now what we've got here is something really cool. We have got everybody in the list, or all the people that we've added to this list are in here, and we've got a stream of their content. So obviously I've only got one member now, but eventually when you build this up and you repeat the process, so here's a new lead, consulting service, go to their website, get their Twitter account, follow the steps, add them to the list, and eventually you'll build up a decent sized list of all these leads coming to your website. What will happen is, in this feed here, you'll have all of their content that they're sharing. So one annoying thing about Twitter is there's so much noise everywhere. There's thousands and hundreds of thousands of tweets going out. It's difficult to keep up with the people you want to keep up with. So this is a brilliant way of grouping them into one place so that you can easily follow up with them, and you can engage with them all very efficiently and effectively. So what we do now, we've created the Twitter list and we've added, continue to add people to it, relevant leads from Leadfeeder. What we need to do now is engage with these people, because the first point to building relationships with these potential accounts is engaging with them. And one more point I just want to make, one more point before we start engaging is really important. So you may be thinking, yes, we've got the company Twitter account, but hang on a minute. Is the person managing the account, are they the decision maker? And they may not be. A lot of the times they are, if it's an independent run business, but they may not be. So what I do to find the decision makers within the business is go back to Leadfeeder, go back to the lead, for example, this one, click on the LinkedIn part that says contacts, and I can find all of the different people that work for that business, their job titles, where they're based, lots of information about them, and I can find the exact decision makers. What I can then do is go back to Twitter and I can use the search function to search for these people on Twitter, and I can follow the previous steps I mentioned and add them to this Twitter list. So I've not only got the company Twitter account, I've then got the individual person's Twitter account. So just to recap that, from Leadfeeder, click on contacts, and then look down and think about who's the decision maker that's going to make the decisions. Is it the MD? Is it the marketing manager? Is it the sales manager? Is it the production manager? Think about who the decision maker is, and then add those people to the list, because we want to be going on Twitter, searching them, Dave Smith, etc. Go to his page. Say this is a completely random guy, but I'm just showing you as an example. Follow the steps, click the settings icon, add or remove from lists, tick Leadfeeder, and there you go. And now if we follow the steps, go back to my account and back to the lists, we can now see we've got not only the company, we've got the decision maker in the list. So that's just a random dude, but that's an example we can use there. So now we've got that. Now we want to start engaging with these people. So there's a few ways you can do this. I spend 10 minutes a day. So invest at least 10 minutes a day going through this list. And you've got a few options here. You can reply. So I could look at a piece of content that they've shared. Look at this Apple's review of these AirPods, the headphones. So what I'd do is I'd look at this. I'd read it. Because remember, we want to add value. We don't just want to add the simple comments. Have a look at the article, read it, and then I'd reply and say my own little reply and try and add value. Do I have any other articles which they may be interested in? Do I have an insight myself that's adding a bit of value? Just start to spark up these conversations, talk about the industry, etc. So that's one way, click and reply. Another way is to click retweet. Simply retweet it, so these people get notification. You can easily like. You can click like there. And what this is doing is we are popping up, every time we're engaging, we're popping up in these leads, Twitter accounts, in a positive light. We're helping share their content. We're adding meaningful conversations. We are liking their content. And what it's doing is it's ultimately helping build our relationship with them. And we want to be engaging in a dialogue, not a monologue. We want to be having conversations back and forth. So the best way to do this is for you to be proactive and start engaging. And another quick tip is to download the Twitter app and use the Twitter list function there, because I use it every day and it's really quick and easy to engage very efficiently, even more efficiently than on desktop. So I'd really check out the Twitter app for that. So there's just some really actionable ways that you can find people from Leadfeeder, source their Twitter account, go to their Twitter account and add them to your list, and then start to engage with them to build relationships. And this stuff takes time. You need to be patient. Okay, patience is key. Start to build relationships with these people over time on social media. And when you do go in for the call, when you do go in for the sales call or go in for a meeting or an email, you've warmed up that lead. It's all about warming these leads up before you go in for the sales kill, so to speak. And rather than not hard selling, you're relationship selling. You're building relationships with these people and then selling to them. And I've just got a couple of tools to finish with that I find so effective, and you should definitely try out. One of them's called Juicier, and I test hundreds of tools, and these are just a couple that are really great for engaging with on social media. So they do a 5-day free trial, and they also do, I've got a 10% off voucher which we're going to send through in the email after this, so you can test it out for free for 5 days and have 10% off if you want to use it. So what it does is, it automatically engages with people for you. So yes, you need to be very human and do human engagements, but this will engage with the right people in the background. It will not only do that, it will automatically follow people based on their job title, their role, loads of different specifications to start following these people based on what they do, the accounts they follow, and it's really going to help build up your audience and build up your following online. So I really recommend you checking that out. It's such a great tool, and this has helped me grow over 17,000 Twitter followers. It's helped me engage with people who have become clients. It's a great tool to test out, and it's really simple and easy to use. Another one you should test out is sendable.com. So I mentioned earlier about Buffer, which is another scheduling tool, which is great, and I used that for 2 years, and I never thought I'd change at all. But I was approached by Sendable, and I've tested the tool out, and it's a social media scheduling tool, and I thought that it wouldn't be anywhere near as good as Buffer, and I've ended up stopping my Buffer account and starting using Sendable because it's so much better. It's got loads of great features, but what I want to talk about is the monitoring tool. So what you can do is actually monitor when your leads are using certain keywords on Twitter, and you can get a notification. So the reason this is useful is because, say you're an estate agent and you're targeting landlords, and every time they speak about a new property or needing an estate agent, you want to get a notification instantly, because you know that's when you can go in for the kill and you can engage them and say, hey, we can help you. That's how you convert. This tool will notify you when anyone has the problem that you can solve. Not only will it do that for your contacts through Leadfeeder, it will search the whole of Twitter and find people who have a problem that you can solve. So for example, say for me, I do a lot of digital marketing training, and I use it so that when anyone tweets saying, I need help with digital marketing, or I need support, I need training on social media, I instantly get a notification, and I can then chase that up and convert that lead into a sale. So it's a really powerful tool. I really advise you to check that out. I've also got a 10% off code for Sendable. It's got a month's free trial that you can test out to use it, and it's a great tool for engaging with the leads also that you generate through Leadfeeder. And that is it. I've got I've got some resources, some blogs, some tutorials, step-by-step tutorials to use things like to use things like Boomerang, to use things like Twitter, to how to engage with people. I've got lots of great content which we're going to be sharing with you in an email after this, so that you can continue to learn. And if you've got any questions, just tweet me at Knowlton1, DKNOWLTON1. Ask me any question you want, or visit our website, kpsdigitalmarketing.co.uk. Thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed this webinar.
Okay, so yeah, there are a couple of questions, and we could start off, and I can also partly answer to this. Is Lauren asks that should I do the sales pitch already in the online channel, or should I move it to offline? And if I answer first a bit, so I think yes, you should move the sales pitch to offline channel. So basically it's about building the trust in the offline channels, as Dan explained, sharing content, listening, engaging, and helping them beforehand. And then once the trust is gained, then you can move it to email or a phone call where you do the real sales pitch. Or how do you see this, Dan yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, Jaakko. It's a really good point. I think that the online stuff, you need to use it in conjunction with offline. There's nothing better than a face-to-face sale. Okay, that's like the ultimate, getting in front of someone, because that's the strongest way to build a relationship. But it takes time to get to that position, to be able to do that. And again, offline, using the phone, talking on the phone is another really great way to build relationships. So I think you need to be using both of these in conjunction with each other. And I think the like online stuff, like the Twitter engagement, the Twitter, building relationships on things like Twitter, is a good starting point, because then you've actually warmed up that lead before you go in for the phone call. Because when you actually start to engage with them on Twitter and build relationships online, when you actually go for the phone call and you call them up and say, we've seen you visit our website, we'd love to answer any of your questions. When you say who you are, there'll be a lot more, the lead's warmed up, so they'll be a lot more willing to speak to you, and it's just a great way to kind of warm up the leads, rather than completely going cold and ringing these leads up and saying, hey, you visited our website, how can we help you? You've actually warmed them up, and it's going to give you a lot better conversion rate if you're warming these leads up before you go in for the kill with the sales call.
Yes, exactly. I can agree with that. And closely related to this, Galina asks that about LinkedIn. So how do you start interacting on there? Do you send them email, or do you think Twitter is the key to success? So my take on this would be that one thing I do is I make myself or my name visible already in Twitter, and then build the relationship from there through LinkedIn. using different groups and engaging what my target accounts and decision makers are doing, and after that sending email once they know your name and what you are doing basically already.
Yeah.
How do you see this, Dan?
Yeah, again, some really great points there, Jaco. I completely agree with you. One thing, I mean, this is my personal opinion. One thing I hate, is ever receiving salesy emails from people that I've never met. Even receiving salesy emails from people that I've built a slight relationship up with, I still find extremely annoying. What I think people need to really consider is building a strong relationship with these people through the channels that you said, Jaco. Exactly, like find out what LinkedIn groups these leads are part of, find out what content they're sharing, start to engage with their content on LinkedIn, engage with their blogs or their website if they're creating content on there, and never go instantly in for, like you said, Jackie, you need to build a relationship up front. Never go for an in-mail straight away. I really think that can not only put people off, it can make people never want to do business with you if you instantly go in for a sales pitch. Whenever I receive a lot of in-mails of people trying to sell me stuff, and I instantly block the person and I never want to speak to them again. So I really think, like you said, Jacko, building that relationship up through Twitter, through LinkedIn groups, and then as you start to build that relationship up, then you can potentially reach out. But I think people aren't patient enough. People aren't patient enough. The relationships take time to build. Don't think you're going to build a relationship in a month and you're going to be able to sell them, the world, etc. You need to build relationships over time to really gain long-term clients from Leadfeeder. Because if Leadfeeder is used effectively, it's such a powerful sales and lead generation tool, and it's just about understanding how to get the leads and then build really strong relationships with them, and then they will convert.
Yes, that's exactly true, and also related to Leadfeeder, Pete asks from you, Dan, that how often do you look at Leadfeeder? So is it like daily, or how does your process flow with Leadfeeder?
Sure. So I do a to-do list every single day, and on my to-do list is Leadfeeder, to check Leadfeeder. Some days, if I get crazily busy, it may be 1 day or 2 days, but I ultimately want to be checking it every single day. I do tend to stick to it, but I just think that it's worth checking it every day. It takes, because the tool, it gives you everything you need in such an easy way to quickly log on and see. I just get excited. I get excited to see, what businesses have come on. If they're big businesses, if they're potential big clients, it's quite exciting for me. So I like to go on every single day. I think people need to use it at least once a day. Sometimes I use it more if I'm, want to keep checking, but at least once a day, I think, to check that these leads, to check to see what leads, you could potentially be building relationships with.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And then we go to Robert, who basically asked that are there differences between the way you address B2B or B2C stages, basically? So, well, first of all, I could address one big difference between B2B and B2C is that, of course, in B2B there are multiple decision makers, so it doesn't. It's usually not enough if you pitch it to one person, because there are other people involved. There's the user, then there's the buyer, and another influencers who will affect the buying decision. So in my point of view, the really big deal in B2B is the account level of thinking. So not only to one people, but to several who are in the decision making process, basically.
Yeah, really good point, Yak. I really like that. My opinion on this is I think that everything's B2C, and bear with me now. At the end of the day, even if it's B2B, there's a human being at the end that you're engaging with. So I think people need to take a step back and think everything you're doing, it can be B2B, it can be B2C, but you need to think of it as B2C. You need to thinking think of it as you're engaging with a human on the other end. It is a consumer at the end of the day. You're not engaging with a business. Businesses don't speak. It's the people within the businesses that you're engaging with. So I definitely agree with your point there, Yako. With a B2B, there's a lot more decision makers. So you need to consider, you need to do your research and think, who are the decision makers within this business, you know, and start to try and build relationships with all of those people that you can find, so that when you start to engage with these various people, they'll all know you and you're building relationships with them rather than just one single person. But I definitely think, you know, people listening to this and watching this need to really think about engaging with people on a human level. I constantly see people, you know, not being human. And you know, one thing that relates to this is on social media, on Twitter, is people just automate everything. Everything's automated. You know, automated messages, automated direct messages, automated tweets, automated this, automated that. You need to be more human, and I think it's really important to be a real human on social media, even if it's B2B and if it's B2C. Engage with these people as if they are a real person.
Yeah, that's totally true, and I've seen, for example, in LinkedIn, many people trying to engage and do some sort of social selling. So they do a one question in a blog post, then they send them a direct email, and then they get the auto message back, which says basically that, thank you for your interest, but I'm not looking for anything new at the moment. And that basically means that you didn't build the trust up front or any kind of relationship.
Exactly.
It was a cold contact. One final question we could take, that Lucy asks that, when do you ask introductions from your network to a certain people? So do you always ask introduction if you have some mutual contact, or do you sometimes decide to go like straight away without the introduction?
I'd always use an introduction, and the reason for that is, again, we keep talking about warming these leads up. An introduction from someone, if you've got a lead and you want to contact them, if you're being introduced from someone who they consider very credible, you've got a much bigger chance of you know, converting that lead eventually into a sale. It's just like, if you think, like, if someone comes up to you in the street and tries to sell you some flowers who you don't know at all, and you think, you know, no, I don't want to buy flowers. If your friend said to you, hey Dan, there's this really great guy called Rick down the road who's selling flowers, and you know, we really want to help him out, can you get some flowers? I am going to be 10,000 times more likely to buy those flowers because my friend down the road has recommended Rick the flower maker, rather than just Rick coming to me and saying, buy my flowers. So really great question, and I think it's definitely worth always using the introduction, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, really good questions and good content throughout the webinar, and we'll be sending also a recording of this, and we'll make sure that the quality is good in the recording too. And also super big thanks for Dan going through all of this that you explained earlier. I reckon this is really helpful for our audience.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Cheers all the folks, and have a nice day, and have a nice day over there, Dan, too.